Hi, and welcome to the TechCrunch Gadgets podcast, live from day one of CES. I'm Matt Burns.
I'm Romain Dillet.
I'm Anthony Ha.
And I'm Jordan Crook.
And today we're going to talk about wearables, the Oculus Rift, Faraday Future, and why smart refrigerators are dumb.
Super dumb.
This is the TechCrunch Gadgets podcast.
So let's start with Fitbit, maybe. You wrote about it, Jordan.
I did. Fitbit just came out with a brand new, what they're calling a smart fitness watch. They're not brave
Apple
enough
Watch.
to, they're not brave enough to call it a smart watch because that would mean they're competing directly with Apple, and nobody wants to do that. It's actually just like a Fitbit device that pops in and out of bands, and they built their own.
Wait. So, like the Apple Watch?
It's much like the Apple Watch, exactly. You guys are picking up on this, but uglier is the main thing. And they built their own OS. It does all kinds of really cool health and fitness features. It can detect what kind of exercise you're doing and automatically track that. It has music controls right on the device, and now it does smart notifications as well, so you can get your texts and your phone calls. And they've made it with, leather bands and this kind of luxe link band. So they're trying to add style to what Fitbit's normally been pretty ugly and meant for like people going on a run. They're trying to add some more
I would say
flair.
utilitarian more than ugly, but
Sure, whatever. We can be kind.
And then the stock crashed 20%, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so their stock's down 3.7% right now, and it crashed about 18% yesterday.
Cool. So what do you
It's
think
their
about
first color
wearables?
touchscreen, though.
So in what way is it not a smartwatch?
Well, it doesn't have any access to third-party apps. There's no app store. There's not even like internet or anything like that. It's truly just a really smart fitness tracker that has interchangeable clock faces and that connects to your phone. What I found interesting, they don't even have onboard GPS on this thing. So you need to have your phone with
the Apple
you.
Watch doesn't have one either, so
Oh, really?
yeah,
Well, the Apple Watch can't be separated from your phone anyway.
it can.
Well, most people that have an Apple Watch and an Apple phone do not like to be separated from them either.
Most people that have an Apple Watch have
Part of why
problems.
I don't trust
Wait, I
anyone
got
with an
one of
Apple
those.
Watch.
Wait, can we pause for a second? Jordan, where did you get those socks at?
Oh, I got these at the TechCrunch store at TechCrunch.com. Actually, you can't buy these. They're limited edition.
I didn't.
This is also going to be
I got
amazing
one.
in the audio version of the podcast where it's just...
yeah.
they're like, what?
Yeah.
They're TechCrunch socks for those who can't see us but can hear us. I don't.
So let's go back on track. We've seen a lot of wearables from Garmin, from Casio, from Withings, from all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's some kind of future for these wearables?
I think we're hitting a saturation point for wearables. I think the market's still really big, but the available market that people can buy these things. But there is a wearable for everything now.
There's one that I saw last night at Digital Experience that will measure your breathing. It's called the Spire. And you wear it on your belt or like your bra strap, and it'll measure how you're breathing and then tell you to calm down. So if you're like getting like overexcited, it'll be like, chill, take a couple deep breaths.
Anthony needs that all the time.
I think with wearables,
I'm
though,
always tense.
I think with wearables, the biggest thing that is holding the whole market back is battery life, because people don't want to have to plug these things in constantly, especially if it's something like a Fitbit where it's supposed to be tracking your sleep and your activity throughout the day. At what point do you charge it?
That's
right?
why Withings is smart, because they use tiny batteries,
Watch
and it lasts for
batteries.
like 6 months or a year. You don't have to change it for a year.
Misfit does that as well, too.
Misfit does that.
They were one of the first ones to do that. And I think one of the biggest issues with wearables I found is you get one, you're so excited, and you wear it for a week, and then the battery dies, and then you charge it, and you wear it again, but then the battery dies again, and then you just don't put it back on.
And then you die.
Well, and
I would say for me, the one time I tried one, it was a mix of battery life, limited utility, and then also my friends making fun of me because they thought it looked stupid.
Maybe.
My friends are really hateful.
Yeah,
I
they're
like
us.
to make fun of people wearing the Apple Watch. What is the difference between looking
Why?
at your wrist and pulling your phone out of your pocket? Explain to me the difference.
I'm on stage right now, and if I want to look at my text
You
messages,
shouldn't be
That's
looking
so
at your text
rude.
messages
We're having
on
a
stage.
conversation, and you're just like, oh, I got other places to be.
Flinch fly.
all right, let's move on to Oculus
No,
Rift.
I want to answer this. I
gonna settle
really
this.
enjoy having notifications on my wrist rather than on my phone that is often in my pocket or in my bag
Yeah,
or at
because
my
it's
desk.
so hard to grab your phone out of your pocket.
It is.
That's
I can't get it right now. It is stuck in these tight
Why would
pants
you
I
want
have
to
on.
burn
I
those
stuffed into-
calories, right?
Oh, skinny
You know what? I
jeans.
think people who wear Apple Watches are wearing them as a status symbol. The same way that like the first few generations of the Apple iPhone were a status symbol. The people who want to wear an Apple Watch are just like, oh,
That's-
look, I have an Apple
You
Watch.
know what
I'm
that
so
sounds
cool.
like? That sounds like a comment from somebody that can't afford an Apple Watch.
Uh-huh.
I can afford an Apple Watch.
You
I have
wanna-
access to your bank account.
Well, I know. And what, I got nothing.
Yeah, I win. Thank you. Let's move on now.
Let's move on to Oculus Rift. So they put out 3 different pieces of news this week. They're going to release in March for $600, and existing Kickstarter backers are going to get it for free.
So about 7,000 people that were there from the start, right? They're
Yes.
going to get their
So
unit
great,
for free.
like, a
$600
drop in
is
the
a
bucket.
shocking price point. Didn't you expect it to be more than that?
It depends, because you have to buy an expensive computer anyway, like a $2,000 computer to plug
That was the
it.
thing that I hadn't really thought about until I was like, I'm going to get one. Then Greg Kumperack was like, wait, is that MacBook? Yeah, it's not going to work, pal.
Because with the Oculus Rift, you need a pretty decent gaming computer.
Like a Razer.
A Razer would work, or a Falcon Northwest, or anything that you build. Romain could build you a computer.
I wouldn't.
I don't want one.
I mean, it just seems like, all of that together seems to say basically this is for like a pretty serious, this iteration at least is for a pretty serious gaming audience.
I do agree, though, Jordan. $600, I was expecting a lot more than that. And I believe I have nothing to back this up. But I believe they're taking a wash on the hardware. There's no way that they can produce this thing in mass at $600 and make money on the hardware. This has to be something that they're going back through. And with that said, it's probably impossible that Oculus would have been able to sell this at $600 without being backed by Facebook.
I agree with that.
Although, I guess we'll have somebody who might be able to answer that question on stage later on.
I'm
won't
going
we?
to talk to him and ask him about that. What are
So
the
this
He's going to be
margins?
like, Matt Burns has no idea what he's talking about.
So later today at 4:15, we have Nate Mitchell, the co-founder and VP of Oculus, is coming by to talk to Jordan.
I thought we had Brendan.
And
No,
the
he
thing
canceled.
is, the thing with
Cool.
the Oculus Rift is that maybe in 2 years, laptops will be powerful enough to drive an Oculus Rift. So it's a bet on the future, actually. Right now, it's pretty useless. Maybe in 2 years.
Well, and you have to think about what's Facebook's play in all of this, right? Why did Facebook buy Oculus in the first place? What does Facebook want out of a virtual reality
Because
experience?
that might be the future of entertainment and investing in video and stuff like that. So
Do you
I
think
don't
that
know.
virtual reality will ever cross the bridge into like how we socially interact with each other? Do you think that like one day, a bunch of the tech crunchers, we work remotely, we work at home. Can you imagine a day when we all put on our headsets in the morning and wander through like a virtual office or hanging out together?
I mean, I have to say that I think a lot of our interactions are probably more like friendly and natural when we're in our like chat rooms than they are like in like when I meet sometimes I'd meet a TechCrunch writer in person who I've interacted with for the last 6 months. It's like, oh, hey, how's it going?
Well,
It's so weird.
We all have a slight case of Asperger's as well, so.
Yeah, the better ones have a slight case.
So are you going to buy one Oculus Rift here?
I'm not going to buy one.
I'm
Strong
not going
veto.
to because I don't have a good enough computer.
Strong veto.
Yeah, I'm not.
Also, like, it kind of makes you a little nauseous. And if you think about it, when you look at someone using a VR headset, almost always their mouth is wide open. They're like,
So
and it's
I guess so.
embarrassing.
Part of my question is there eventually going to be a model that's sort of more of like a console, so it's like all in one versus like, oh, I have to plug this in.
yeah,
to...
Sony is working on something. They're going to have a headset this year or next year, something like that. And it very varies. Like, for example, I had the opportunity to try 3 different headsets 2 days ago. Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and the A-Drift demo. The Oculus Rift demo was perfect. It was smooth. It was great. Everything was perfect. But the A-Drift demo, I got pretty badly sick afterward. I wanted to throw up like all day long.
what about is it Vive or Vive? Did they clarify that?
I'm not sure. I said
Well,
Vive. But
what is that like? Because I've heard from
It's
people
pretty
that
good.
that's the top of the line experience right now.
It's pretty good. They're releasing a new one, or showing a new one at least, iterating on it, and it's supposed to be like one of the best ones when it comes to what HTC is working on, because you get a lot of resolution, a really good resolution display, and things like that. I don't really know.
The depth of the content's a lot greater on that as well.
Well, and don't they use like actual like lasers in the room to determine where you are, so the the Vive actually offers like a
It's a
moving
whole lot more
experience.
immersive, but
Yeah.
it's not something that, at this point, as complete of a package as the Oculus, where you can plug it in and play some dumb VR game.
Dumb VR game.
I'm really not.
It's not dumb.
I'm not bullish on this at all. I really think that virtual reality is going to have a shorter life. I think augmented reality is going to come on top.
Yeah, let's take a vote down the line.
And
I think
really trump it.
I think AR will be a way bigger industry than VR in the next 5 years. That's going to be my bet.
Yeah, probably.
I'm gonna go with VR.
Oh, well,
Why are you trying to be an outlier?
Why don't you defend that position then, Anthony?
I mean, I think this is about as well founded as Matt's opinion about Oculus's
Good.
manufacturing
Well,
costs.
this is TechCrunch.
But I mean, I do think for me, I think AR is something that there's like it's very interesting, but I still feel like I haven't seen super compelling use cases yet. And I think that some of the design challenges in terms of how you do it in a way that's useful but not interfering, like with a lot of the issues with
Sure.
like Google Glass. I think it'll happen, but I'm not as bullish about it. Whereas I think some of the content that I just feel like every time I see like Oculus in particular, and like how every time it seems like the content especially seems to be like getting more and more interesting. Do I think necessarily this iteration is going to be the thing that sort of turns it into a mass product? Not necessarily, but I think it seems closer to me and more exciting to me.
Sure. When you look at augmented reality, the thing that I like about it the most, and I think the thing that's most compelling to most people, is it does not completely remove you from reality. It still offers a lot of compelling content with things exploding in front of you and little things popping up and going around, but you're not completely removed, and I think it removes a lot of the nauseous effects of VR.
Well, and if you think about the applications of AR, there's so many more ways that you could use that than there are VR. You could go and live, have an African safari. You could watch a NBA game. You could play a game on VR. But with AR, you could use it literally for everything. You could use it to map. You could use it for weather information. Brands
Like an
could use
Apple
it
Watch.
to advertise.
Right. I mean, I think that AR, when they solve some of these like usability things, becomes much more of a utility, whereas like VR seems much more like entertainment and socialization.
Agreed.
Let's pause for a second and talk about what we're doing here. So this is TechCrunch's first time.
Now that we're 12 minutes into
now
the
that
show,
why
are we
8
here?
minutes
Now
left
that
on
there's like
this
sort of
segment.
increasing confusion on everyone's face.
So we are TechCrunch. We are Silicon Valley's largest blog and account of record. All the news worthy to print is on TechCrunch.
Even though everyone on stage right now does not live in Silicon Valley.
We don't, do we?
Because we're a global publication,
We
Matt.
are a global
We're a global publication with
yes.
a global
so
leadership.
what we're doing, though, is we love startups, and we brought some of the best startups in these halls to us, and we're going to interview them and have demos on the stage throughout the week. And then we also host a live startup competition twice a day, which is hosted by Jordan. And then the finals are on Friday with the winner getting $50,000.
Big time.
Big time money, and they get a cool trophy.
It's awesome, actually, though, because it's the gadgets version of Disrupt Battlefield, which Disrupt Battlefield, if you don't know, you should watch Silicon Valley or come to Disrupt. But it's awesome because we get like 20 companies together. They have 6 minutes to pitch to expert judges. But this time we get to do it with gadgets, right? There's
Right.
no like boring enterprise
only
companies
hardware.
hopping up there.
It's only
I
hardware.
feel Ned's eyes on me. I'm nervous about everything I'm saying.
So this year for Hardware Battlefield, we have some really neat companies. We have a talking dinosaur. We have helmets that have built-in cameras and live streaming things.
We have a mouth guard that can tell you whether or not you've had, well, not whether or not you've had a concussion, but whether or not you need to be checked for if you have
Sure.
a concussion.
We have a gadget that can detect gluten in food that's pocket size within 2 minutes.
We have programmable friendship bracelets.
I don't have any friends.
Yeah, you don't need one. You have your
We have
Apple
an Apple
Watch to
Watch.
be
I
your
have an
friend.
Apple Watch. Roman and I are friends.
Do you want me to send you
The
my
Apple Watch will
heartbeats
be
or
your
something?
friend.
I'm going to draw you a picture right now, Roman.
Did you
Okay.
download that app that'll can like instant messages and notifications so it looks like you have friends?
Oh, no, I need that.
You need that.
So with Hardware Battlefield, we have some amazing judges actually lined up. So today, we have Slava Rubin from
Indiegogo.
Indiegogo.
Who knows more about gadgets? He's watched a billion of them cross through the...
Arguably,
There's internet.
Chris Anderson knows as many gadgets from previously Wired and now 3D Robotics. What
Yeah.
else do we got?
Who else?
Let's test you. You're supposed to know all these by
Yeah,
heart.
yeah, I am.
laptop in
It's
front
in
of
my pocket. Trey Vasilo from KPCB, who is a genius. I was actually looking at her resume. She's got a master's in mechanical engineering. She has an MBA from Stanford. She ran her own design firm. And now she's a partner at KPCB. And she's one of the biggest winners in the Nest Google deal. She got like 20x returns on that investment. So we've got a
I
good
know a bigger
lineup.
winner.
Yeah?
We got 200x.
Oh, yeah? You want... It's not a competition. I'm
Exa-
trying to talk about
I mean,
Trey.
for the audience, Xavier Niel, who is the biggest angel investor in France, that's probably the biggest winner.
Speak
of Nest.
English.
It's just a French name.
Don't be a jerk, Jordan.
Wow,
Jerk.
we're already like 15 minutes into like day one, and we're already at like French insults.
This is the international CES, okay? That's why that's why we flew him
That's
here.
why we brought him.
That's the only reason. It's not the American
It's a
CES.
charity. you
Wait,
mean?
Romain, let's be serious though. Isn't there a huge French contingency of startups
There's
here?
a huge contingency, and we've seen it in the applications, in the hardware battlefield, and everywhere. Even people we're going to interview on stage. There are around 200 startups who have a booth right here, right over there. That represents quite a lot. Like 35% of the companies here are French startups, and that's because there's some kind of hardware talent going on in France. It's very easy to build a hardware startup in France, and now they all come to CES.
It's also worth noting, last few years we've been in the parking lot of the main convention center. We're in the stands now. So if you happen to be watching this and you're in Las Vegas, you should probably be at the show and not watching things on your computer. Two, come visit us because we're at the Sands Expo.
Well, the show is not open to the general public, but our booth is.
Yeah.
We are outside of the hall. The entrance hall is right over there. But you
Literally anyone could come watch right now.
literally
You could just
anyone
come
can.
hang out with us. So if you
Matt
are...
Burns will give you a high five if you ask for it.
I will, but I'll be hiding in the back most of the day.
You're in
Although
the-
we do have some good interviews set up, and so let's run through these. You have an interview this morning, right?
I do. I'm talking to Block Smartwatch, and I'm waving at those guys right now. How's it going, guys? You don't have to say anything because you're not mic'd up, but
I'm very excited they're here.
yeah. But they had a successful, hugely successful Kickstarter campaign last year, and they're supposed to be shipping later this year. So I guess we'll be talking about that.
Fantastic. Then after that, I'm interviewing Chris Anderson of 3D Robotics about drones and drone regulation and maybe drone delivery. And then we have Hardware Battlefield.
Woo!
That's you.
Yeah, we've got a great first session coming up, but I don't want to give anything away. You'll see it when you watch it. But
Then after that, we're actually going live to the show floor where we have crews roaming around filming live. And we used to do that exclusively. And then we got smart, and our positions kind of moved up in the organization. Now we just have to sit here.
we sit here
I'm
and we just
roaming around, just so
riff.
you know.
Oh, you're
Jerk.
doing it.
Yeah, I'm roaming too later.
Oh,
Well,
Jordan,
you'll figure it out.
how you doing?
I'm great. I'm comfy. My feet feel fine.
But I would say also the show floor stuff is often like the most interesting because everything that happens on this stage has been like planned, not necessarily planned well, but it has been planned to
Yeah.
a certain extent. On the floor, it's just whoever we see, and it can get like really weird and uncomfortable. So tune in for that.
I am a little bit like I'm feeling slightly nostalgic because this is going to be my first time where I don't go into the convention center and like hang out at the Sony booth or the Samsung booth. Even though that's a little bit overwhelming, it's nice to walk in and be like, this is a football field size booth filled with gadgets. That's pretty exciting.
Jordan, what is your most memorable roaming live stream moment? Because I have one of you.
Oh, really?
What?
I
you
know.
tell me
I have
that.
one.
I know what yours is, and
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to actually share mine because
Okay.
it's so embarrassing. So yours is when I was in one of the halls and John Biggs sent me over to a booth. I didn't know where I was walking, and it turned out to be sex toy tech. And I ended up talking to not the founder, but just a random woman who happened to be really interested in like the dildos that were there. And she was like, this one does this, and this one does this. And like 10 minutes into the interview, the founder comes up, Suki, who we actually interviewed on my bod, and we have a great relationship with now. But she came up and was like, so can I tell you about my products? And I was like, who is this? Where am I?
Customer evangelist, man.
Very exciting. No, we started doing the roaming coverage live back when live stream was brand new and you had to wear a huge backpack. And we have a camera guy, Jem Rio, who is amazing and is a beast and would carry this backpack around, which was 40 pounds.
And we used to do it for like 8 hours straight back then. Now we do like an hour at a time, but it used to be like literally 8 hours of walking from hall to hall.
And John's doing it the entire time with a
carrying
smile on
100
his
pounds,
face.
yeah.
With a huge camera and a backpack on. And now we have small little cameras and we get to sit here.
Technology
great.
is a beautiful thing.
Thanks to CES.
Yeah.
The new innovation we see every year.
Advancements in technology.
So we have just a few seconds left here, and there's a couple more interviews we need to touch on. I'm interviewing the CEO of Ford here at 1:30, and then we have a special interview with Sphero and a star from Star Wars at
Yeah, the
1:40.
BB-8. Do we know? Are we going to have the BB-8, or are we just going to talk about it?
Oh God, they didn't give me a straight answer.
Okay.
Anything could happen.
Tune in to see whether or not. Yeah, I should have just brought mine then. You should
Yeah,
have
no,
told-
I'm hoping for the full size
Oh,
one.
the one from the movie. Yeah. Okay, I got you.
All right, so well that's that, and that was the TechCrunch Gadgets podcast. Once again, I'm Matt Burns,
I'm Romain Dillet.
I'm Anthony Ha.
And I'm Jordan Crook.
and we'll be here live every day from 9:30 to 5, and the podcast will begin tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Up next, we have Anthony Ha,
That's me.
and we're gonna get off the stage, nice and dirty style. Thank you.
So I'm just going to hang out on this
Your
stage.
seats, hang out.